Thank you, Mr. Chair. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. Mr. Hochberg, since 2009, you've run this independent XM Bank. It's an entity that's been created by the federal government here in the 1930s. You have about 450 employees, and you folks provide low interest rate loans to foreign entities that turn around and buy U.S. products from U.S. companies, of course. Now, if these foreign companies cannot repay their loans, then the taxpayers are on the hook. In fact, the reason why you are able to provide foreign companies with cheaper credit than non-government banks is because the taxpayers backstop. So where I want to go down this path, sir, if I may, is I've heard today from you and from other folks here in this hearing room, there's no cost to the taxpayer. There's no free lunch, Mr. Hochberg. Everybody knows that. Of course there's a cost to the taxpayer. For example, if you have a worker at a company and across the street is a competitor roughly the same product, and that company is financed in part by you folks, and so that product is purchased but not the product from the company that the other gentleman works for, then you have picked that winner and he loses. There's a cost to that individual. Second of all, is that the only reason why, again, that a non-government bank isn't able to provide credit to some of these foreign companies is because you folks step in and you're backstopped by the U.S. taxpayer that's on the risk if something goes wrong. And so those U.S. banks who might be able to extend those loans are unable to do so. So there's a cost to those banks, sir, in the non-government sector and also to the people they employ. Now, there's one other cost that I'd like to talk about today that hasn't been discussed, and that's reputational risk for the U.S. government. Now, I understand that you are appointed by the President, and you also serve as the chairman of the board of your own directors, and you've stated here today in testimony that you raise money for the President. I don't see any way, sir, that Congress is able to hold you accountable. We don't appropriate any money to you. Now, what does it say to investors around the world who run companies who are thinking about investing in our economy, whether it be in Maine 2nd District or throughout the country, that we have an export-import bank where, if my notes are right, and I know Mr. McCarthy, your Inspector General from the inside will correct me if I'm wrong, where over the last 5 years you've had 48 people associated with the bank have been convicted, of fraud. You have 37 ongoing investigations for fraud and corruption right now. There have been about 66 years of prison time that's been dished out to these folks over the last 5 years, and about $224 million of fines. Now, there was a bank employee not long ago that accepted $78,000 in cash as a bribe to help folks out, foreign companies out, to receive your credit, your cheap credit, and I guess he's going to be sentenced in July. There was a former member of Congress who's in jail in Louisiana right now, and they found $90,000 of cash in his freezer that was associated with lending practices at the bank. So I'm asking myself, Mr. Hochberg, I represent 650,000 of the hardest working, most honest people that you could ever find in this country in Maine 2nd District. And now you come before us. And the only way we have accountability, or we can hold you accountable, is to determine whether or not we reauthorize your charter. I'd like to find out how I can go back to the people that I represent with this trail of mismanagement, ongoing mismanagement, and vote to reauthorize your bank. Now, I'd like to turn it over to your Inspector General that's internally working at your bank. Sir, you're also appointed by the President, is that correct?
The position is appointed by the President. I'm currently doing it.
Okay, do you have subpoena authority?
Yes, we do.
You do. Do you have the ability to make criminal referrals?
We do.
Good. And do you have the ability to investigate employees who are no longer at the bank but have left the bank?
We do.
Good. Do you have enough independence from the gentleman sitting right beside you that you work with under the same roof that you think you can do your work effectively?
Yes, we do. Under the Inspector General Act, we have organizational independence. We also have our own separate appropriation and
Good.
manage our own budget.
Mr. McCarthy, you keep doing your work and you keep digging. If you need any help, you call our office. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I yield my-
Time of the